Hello, everyone. This is Ferrante Frazier with Savannah Natural Health, your holistic practitioner teaching the sound ways of health. We always call ourselves holistic for a reason. This is one of the terms that been said a lot today. Everywhere I went, they were talking about, well, what is holistic? And we define holistic as being a sound body, mind, and spirit. You can't be whole unless you have a sound body, a sound mind, and a sound spirit. All right. In doing so, we don't just talk about food. Food don't, gives us a sound mind. Those are our thoughts. Our spirit is not sound from, drinking water. That comes from our, social gatherings and our perspective on life and that energy that flows through us. We teach different modalities to help make bring that balance to your body, your mind, and your soul, your spirit. With that being said, I want to tell you a little bit about Savannah Natural Health. We are a holistic clinic here in Savannah, teaching individuals how to correct their health issues using only natural, means and conditions. Um, you know, um, we don't use the medicine, we don't use the herbs, we don't use the supplements. We just teach you how to be natural as elf. You know, we don't use them, so we teach you how to heal without using them as well. A lot of people say, my headache went away when I took Tylenol. Well, we could show you how to get rid of the headache without using Tylenol. Now the Tylenol is stuck in your body and have to come out too, which is a form of poison. Or you may even become addicted to that. Or your body no longer will heal itself because it will depend on the Tylenol or the other drugs that we, are becoming dependent on. They become a crutch to us. So we teach you how not to get into the crutch healing mentality and correct and heal yourself naturally as an elf. All right. This is our show, Natural as Elf, and we air every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, where we're teaching you these natural principles. Every week we have a different topic to help you bring about the you say the, uh, the concept of holistic health or healing that body, mind, and spirit. We want you to follow us. Go to ATR Media, all things relevant, Black Media on Facebook right now, and like, follow, and share. Share this information with all your family and friends. Matter of fact, stop what you're doing right now and just hit the share button. To share with at least 5 to 10 people. Everybody who's up here listening right now. Don't just hold this information for yourself because we got a great topic today with healthier relationships. And we got a guest speaker who's going to be up here today that's going to unlock your mind. He's phenomenal in his teachings. I met him a while back through some other good friends of mine, and I know a lot of y'all know him. Um, uh, uh, they're phenomenal themselves. Hopefully, I can get them on the show here real soon as well. But I met him a while back, and I was exposed to a lot of his teaching about relationships and marriage and bonding. We even had them come out to a gathering that we had in the community that they were teaching. Him and his wife was teaching this information about how to communicate and how to create more loving relationships between men and women or in other relationships, and preparing people how to prepare themselves for better relationships, how to become more relatable, in other words. This brother who I'm talking about, I want to introduce you to him now. We're going to bring him up into the show, but his name is, y'all know him by Mr. Vaughn. He's the Love Alchemist. How you doing, Mr. Vaughn? You doing all right today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Let me explain them a little bit more about you, Mr. Vaughn. He's a master relationship strategist. He's an author, a transformational speaker, and a personal development coach. His love alchemy and alignment sessions have guided couples. I mean, plenty couples, even like I said, me, and I've used his techniques to help guide couples into becoming healthier in my practice, because I do a lot of marriages. Before I marry people, I make sure I counsel them. They have to go through a counseling session of at least 2 weeks, and I go even longer than most ministers, you know. But before I marry them, I have them go through a 2 weeks counseling session, and I've incorporated a lot of his teachings in our counseling session to help these people create healthy marriages. You know, a lot of people put all their time and energy into creating that one day, and put less time in creating planning for the whole marriage. But the concepts that Brother Vaughn had helps prepare you for the long haul. So he help you have those lasting and loving relationships. So I'm not going to do too much talking. You're going to learn about this great guy yourself in just a minute when he start talking, and we're going to dive into it a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself that I didn't share with the people yet, Mr. Vaughn.
Oh man, that was an excellent intro. I appreciate those kind words, man. Just a little bit about me, and what got me started was I met my wife. Sounds like a cliche story, but I met my wife on the playground when I was 12 years old, and of course she's a year older than I am, so in her mind I was a little bit too young for her. You know how that goes. I was 12, 13. And but shortly after that, we began talking a little bit, getting a little bit more friendly, and so we started dating while in high school.
You know, they call that her being a cougar and you being a young whippersnapper.
Right. Right. At that point, she was a cub and I was probably still just a pup. I don't know, maybe.
I got you.
But yeah, so we started dating in high school, got married immediately after graduating high school.
Okay.
And this year makes 31 years of marriage. We've been together total of 30. This will be 33 years actually total. 31.
Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations. 31 years. That's a long time, and still going. That's powerful. Obviously, y'all know something.
We do what we can, man. You know, and it's been working out very well. And so that's kind of how I got inspired to help other couples, because things were going so well for me in my relationship. But it hasn't always been sweet like that. I mean, there were times where things were really, really hard for us, and largely because of me. You know, I was a knucklehead.
Okay. I see you beating on it there.
Yeah, it's hard like a rock, man.
Okay.
But a lot of learning, a lot of trial and error, and then having to do a lot of mentoring of my own toward. I was in the military, so I had to do a lot of mentoring to my younger military men and their families. And so that ended up helping me in a roundabout sort of way. I'm learning through helping. And so
you have a lot of practice, even in your day-to-day actions, in your training, in your work. You was already teaching people how to overcome obstacles in their life. You was already counseling people in other words.
Right. I was doing that I was doing that at a time that I was still learning how to get my own relationship right. See, they say it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. Right.
Okay.
But so I was at a point where I could tell you how to fix your relationship, but I was still struggling with mine. But you know, over time, I began implementing a lot more of those practices, even into my own relationship. And fast forward, and here I am, 33 years into this marriage, or 31 in the marriage, 33 in the relationship. And there are a lot of people who admire what I have, admire what we have. And so I've been inspired to help others, because I know that this is an area that, particularly in our community, that we struggle with.
So this is not just your doing now. This is something that you and your wife do together. It's a cooperation between y'all two, with how y'all teaching and helping people. Because as I read your book, I don't just see your name on the outside. I've actually seen her name as well. Right. So she dotted a couple of dots in there too, huh?
Oh, she did a lot, man. And actually, you know, it's funny because I'm more of an extrovert personality. She's more of an introvert. And so she doesn't really care to be in front of the camera. whereas I don't mind being in front of the camera. So a lot of what it takes to get me in front of the camera and to look good and sound good on camera, she helps me with a lot of the preparation for that before I show up. And but where we do tend to work together is there are times where we do in-home counseling sessions for couples. And so we show up together and as we help couples, work through their challenges together.
Right. We got a question that just came from Mr. Mike. He's one of our daily listeners, and he's always supporting us. And we're glad to see you up here, Mr. Mike. His question is, what exactly is a love alchemist? They want to know what that love alchemist is.
Great question. Great question. So I was inspired by this book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Okay. And he's a South American man, Brazil, I think. And so what an alchemist does is it takes base metals, something like lead, and it improves on it to such a degree that it transforms or transmutes that base metal to a more precious, more valuable metal. So like transforming lead to gold. So I call myself, well, actually my wife gave me this nickname, this moniker. She calls me the Love Alchemist because we have developed a tendency for taking people's relationship in its most foundational and base state, oftentimes in a dilapidated or even unhealthy state, and transforming their relationship from unhealthy to healthy. So in other words, we take relationships and transform them from lead to gold.
All right, so it sounds like how some people would understand it by saying, how Jesus turned water into wine.
Something like that.
Right. So you're able to, take something that is not all that good at, a basic relationship and apply some proper techniques and help them with some proper means and conditions to help them turn that into a more valuable relationship. Does that sound like what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. And the thing about that, man, people think when people see others with a healthy relationship or a relationship that's thriving, they think you have to do extraordinary things in order to have this thriving relationship. They think that you have to either get lucky or, the stars just aligned perfectly and that you have to do extraordinary things, but that's not it. What it is that you just do ordinary things better and more consistently than other couples. See, the average couple, the average relationship fails. You don't have to be extraordinary. You don't have to be exceedingly abundant. All you have to do is be just a cut above average. Just do the ordinary things better than everybody else.
Now, I'm watching a lot of people on Facebook. I go down my timeline and I hear so many people suffering with issues, with their marriage. They're suffering with issues with a boyfriend, talking about how am I going to, having all these different issues. You hear guys talking about women, they can't, be with this woman because they're just not connecting with them and different stuff like that. We need to have them listening to you or try to find you some type of way where you can help them understand how to look at themselves, because it seems like you're in a lot of your work, you're getting individuals to work with themselves and teach them how to love or bond or relate with the other individual by first relating with self. So how can someone get in touch with you or follow you on, like, do you have like a Facebook page where people can get in touch with you? Do you have like some type of way that, we need to find Vaughn. How do we find Vaughn?
So just like the name that you just put up there, Vaughn says, that's my Facebook name. But I also have a Facebook profile page or a Facebook page, just the Love Alchemist. So you can go to Vaughn Says, you can follow me there, and you can also go to my page, which is the Love Alchemist. So,
now, I ran across a little a group, said his or her perspective.
Yes, sir.
What is this his or her perspective? I know what his and her mean and this perspective. What is this group around? Where I might want to join this group. Anybody can join this group.
Anybody? Yeah, anybody can join. So what happened is a few years ago, I found out we were going to a coach, just a business coach, and so I met a young lady through this business class that we were in. And so long story short, we became Facebook friends, and some time had passed, maybe 2 or 3 years had passed. And one day she just showed up in my news feed. And I remembered her, of course, from the class, and I commented on one of her posts. And we began exchanging, dialoguing right there on the post. And the exchange was a very fruitful exchange. And so we decided to take it off of the Facebook thread, and it became a phone conversation. And just like that, we ended up forming a Facebook live show where we go live every Sunday, called the His and Her Perspective Show. What's funny about that, or ironic about that, is that this woman is actually related to me, and I didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's actually my aunt. And so we found out through, in the roundabout sort of way, that we're all connected. So yes, so every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, the His and Her Perspective Show. So if you can, go to the His and Her Perspective page, Facebook page, and like that page, and stay in tune for the updates.
All right, can you find it any other places, like do it air like on YouTube yet or anything like that?
Yeah, thank you for that. We actually do have a YouTube page, the His and Her Perspective, same name. We actually have a podcast that if you missed the show live, of course you can catch it, the recording of it, but you can also catch the podcast. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean. We're on Spotify, just about every place where you can find a podcast, we're there, and you can download the podcast of that Sunday show.
So this is like what you would say, like when AA anonymous groups, they have these different groups that you can come out and get support for, staying away from alcohol, staying away from drugs and stuff. Your group is like a his or her perspective to help support him and her. In every week, Sunday at 5 o'clock, we can tap in some type of way. You got so many different avenues for us to tap in. We can't get lost. You named some stuff I don't think I heard from a little bit on your fingers just there. But we can't get lost, and we can actually find you real easy and get the support that we need if we wish to have more positive relationships and get a better perspective about his and her. So tell me of something that y'all would actually do on his or her perspective
on
a random Sunday at 5 o'clock. I'm just got out of church and I want to hear something. Mike said it sounds like he needs to put his show on this platform.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan.
Okay, we got one platform you haven't looked at just yet.
Yeah,
but Mike is a great person to know what's good. He followed this platform a lot. So tell us a little bit about the perspective, though.
Yeah, so I mean, we basically discuss all things relationships, and so my co-host is Coach Michelle Monet. She's a wonderful coach as well, and so any topic under the sun, I mean, we discuss it. If it deals with relationships, we talk about it. And so what we do is, she's a relationship coach, I'm a relationship coach, and so we offer individual coaching, but we also do something that I think no other personalities do, and that's we offer ourselves as a package to couples that maybe if you think that you want a little bit of her and a little bit of me, you want a little bit of both of us, we do counseling or coaching sessions together.
And that's something that I noticed that I read in your book where it's like talking about complementary, where y'all complement each other. That sounds like what you're talking about right there, because I read that in your book about how to complement with each other, that you had a friend who actually ate, the wife could not cook, but the husband was a chef. You can't expect her to go in there and cook. So all y'all wanted her to bring was just the napkins and the forks to places, right? They didn't want her making the potato salad or the tuna salad or anything like that,
Right.
But the husband, he was the more chef. So by him being a greater chef, that he was able to, provide the family with some really outstanding meals. So that's how y'all complement each other. Whoever need to be that support to the couples that y'all speaking with, you're able to allow her to, shine when she need to shine, and you shine when you need to shine, whatever the couples need. So does that sound like what I'm hearing?
That's exactly right. I mean, actually, she called me. This was about a week or so ago, and she was actually in the middle of a coaching session that I had nothing to do with. But
That's
she
right.
felt like, just on the fly, she felt like this couple that she was dealing with would actually benefit from my additional perspective. So she just called me. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock that night, and she asked me if I was free to discuss, relationship challenges with a couple. And right then, we were both tag teaming, helping this couple through their challenges. So yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, peanut butter and jelly. It's like ketchup and mustard. I mean, cereal and milk, you name it.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
yeah.
And matter of fact, since we're talking about that piece out of your book, I actually want to share that book with them. A lot of people probably haven't seen this book yet. It's called the Heart Work Book. It's a 31 days to mastering your relationship. All right. So if you see it on the screen right there, it's the Heart Work Book. We also, if you go to the conditionsoflove.com, you can actually order the book from that website. And this book is not your normal book. He's going to give you some information in there, and then he's going to put you to work, people. He's not just going to let you just read and just throw the book on the bookshelf when you get finished. You got to get a pen and paper and write in this book. This is your book now. It's your guide. It's like a workbook to help you become very connected with helping with strengthening your relationship. Let's talk a little bit about this book. What really inspired you and your wife, Miss Desiree Jackson, to actually start writing this book? Like, who picked up the pen first and started writing?
It started with a discussion, and like, my wife and I are very close. And so her ideas become my ideas become her ideas. And so it's often hard to pinpoint who might have initiated something. So but what we were doing, we were sitting around talking about the challenges that so many people seem to have in their relationships. And not everybody can afford counseling, not everybody can afford therapy. And so what we were trying to do was come up with a way that we could reach as many people as we could without them having to pay an arm and a leg, just so that they can get their relationship back on track, just so that they can have something that at least resembles a healthy relationship. And so we sat around.
And do you think sometimes too, in our community, the average Black couple or the average male don't want to go to anybody to get help anyhow? So if we can throw him something in the back door that's going to guide him, give him a little, jump start. And like you said, they don't want to come and pay that, thousands of dollars to go sit on the couch and talk and spill, spend hours coming every week and stuff like that. But and this book, I mean, it's straight to the point, it gives you some definitions. It helps you understand those words and definitions. Then it gives you the work to put in there. And it's to the point. It's not no bunch of twists and turns and a bunch of fillers in there to make a big thick book or something like that. It's just the work there. That's what I'm getting here.
Yeah, I mean, so many books have a whole bunch of filler stuff in it, and we didn't want fillers. I mean, of course, we have some interesting stories in there but the stories are told on purpose, and that's for the purpose of conveying a sentiment or for connecting the reader to the point that's trying to be made, rather than just having a whole bunch of superfluous ideas in there that aren't related to the ultimate objective, which is to have a healthy relationship. So yeah, we did it on purpose. We wanted to make it as succinct yet entertaining and edutaining, if you want to throw that word in there.
That's right.
We could. So yeah, that's what it is.
All right. So let me just ask you this one thing, because it's something I ran across that was saying become a student of him and her again. What does that mean when you say become a student of him and her again?
Right. So one of the things that we find is you hear couples say things like, or you hear people in relationships say things like, I've heard everything that he has to say, or I've heard everything that she has to say. There's nothing new. But the reality is we're continuously evolving in this thing called life. I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago, even 5 days ago. There's always an experience that I'm having. Even if I have a repeated experience, I'm taking on new information all the time. And so there's an evolution that is taking place as I internalize these different experiences. And so if I'm willing to remain interested in my wife, for instance, purposely, this is a conscious decision that we have to make. I have purposely decided to remain interested in my wife because as she continues her evolution, there's always something new to discover about her. There's always something new to learn about her. And so she's always interesting to me because I've chosen to remain interested in her.
That's right. You noticing always the things that that you want to have and the things that you want to see in her, and you always keeping it positive. So you, like you said, we all evolving. So we're gonna always have positive evolution as well. So you just notice and put your view on and keep exposing those positive changes in her and keep seeing it. That keeps you bonded to it, and it keeps her bonded to you because you notice in her, right? And it keeps that good change coming in there too. So it sounds like you're taking responsibility to keep the relationship alive. In other words, does that sound right?
That's the only way to do it, man. I mean, really, if you think about what the word responsibility means, it means literally respond according to your ability. It's respond ability, right? I have a responsibility to respond according to my ability. I have the ability to do everything in my power to make my relationship what I desire for it to be. And she meets me halfway. As a matter of fact, people say 50-50. I say 100-100, right?
100-100.
100, I give her 100. And I'm telling you, if you have two people who are committed to the idea of giving 100%, there is no way that your relationship can fail.
No way. It's nothing in there to fail. Everything is there positive. We have Miss Tanya Hall that says that yeah, you definitely need to have a show and be called the Love Doctor. So hey, they came up with my name. Believe me, we was just sitting in there trying to come up with a name for the show. And you know, as I constantly kept telling them, they said, "Well, what you drink? Water. What you eat? Fruit." Man, you natural as an elf. You know? So yeah, they're gonna help come up with some stuff for you. After the word chosen. She said after the word chosen. You said, you know, when two people are choosing to be positive and for growth, then you're going to get that growth and that bonding that you need in them. I want to shift a little bit to another area in your book as well, because I experienced with some clients that came in where they were having issues bonding with each other. They were mad. They was ready to get divorced. You know, they were sitting so far apart from each other when they came in. You can feel the fire between them. You know, they would turn, one would turn this way while the other one would turn this way. You know, and as we started talking, I started noticing that, you know, over the weeks, what was ailing them. You know, they were, expectations were off. They didn't have clear expectations. Where one of them, she ended up telling me one day what really broke the camel's back is when she was at home and she was preparing. She was in her mind. Now, this is my show on ATR, and we get to talk however we want to talk. I try not to get too vulgar, but this like HBO, so there's no holds bar on the way I could talk on this show. But she was saying that she was spending all day dreaming about having sex with her husband. I mean, she envisioned him coming in there, sweeping her off the bed, grabbing her by the butt, throwing her on the bed and tearing her clothes off. This is what she's had in her mind, you know. She, cleaned up, washed up, and that's all she's been thinking about all day. But no time did she tell him that's what she liked or what she wanted, anything like that. But he came home, and when he came home, all he did was got him a beer out of the refrigerator and sat down in front of the TV and watched the television, right? And was like laid back, moaning, like his back was hurting and all type of stuff. So she up there like in her mind, like, oh man, this dude, he don't love me. He didn't do none of that stuff that she had in her mind. He ain't did none of it. So when we talked to him on a side note, we was like, hey man, what's going on? You know, in his mind, he done worked all day and been providing for the house, and his body hurting, aching. He come home, no food there, so he just grab a bed, jump on the couch and watch television. He was in his mind thinking that his wife was going to have some water ran for him, have some food cooked, but in her mind, she just want to have sex. You know, it'd be thrown on the bed and have her butt squeezed and all that stuff like that. So they had unclear expectations with each other, and I noticed that that's in the area of your book too, where people are not setting clear goals and sharing what they like and what their dislikes is. You were saying in one area that some people do like to be hugged, some people don't like to be hugged, but we have to talk and let the individual know what it is that we desire. So we got to have some clear expectations in there. Can you hit on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, communication is always the foundation of any healthy relationship, and miscommunication is the foundation of undoing any healthy relationship. And so they have the type of scenario, even just one thing that she might have been able to do in that scenario is just send a subtle text message, something flirtatious. You know what I mean? She could just say they know each other better than anybody.
Y'all hear the love doctor coming in there. He telling you how to get that boogie squeeze.
Yeah, look,
and
man.
go to love doctor.
That's all it is. You send him a picture of you in something nice that he likes to see you in, or say something that he likes to hear, and you can plant the seed in his mind the same way that we plant the seed in y'all's mind. If I know that I'm feeling kind of spunky that morning, and I didn't have time to catch my wife before I left work, I know that I got some unfinished business when I get home. So I might send her a message. I might say something, a little fly to her, and all day long, that seed is marinating all day long.
That's right. That's right.
She's just excited to see me when I come in the door, as I was to see her when I got there, and game on, right? So
hey, Julius talk about bookie squeeze.
A little booty squeeze, little hair pull, you do what you got to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's amazing, man. I want to get into this sabotaging communication. Now, y'all make sure y'all go to the website, the Heart Work book, and grab this book from him and let it work for you. It's the conditionsoflove.com. Go grab this book. It got the information in there to help you, master your relationship. I promise you, all the stuff that we're talking about hit throughout the book. So we're just giving you a little taste where you can go and put the work in for your relationship, where you can master this thing. There's no issues when you become the master. You know how to block and jump hurdles and different stuff when you master a situation. You don't want to be no novice. You don't want to be no greenhorn. You want to be a master at this thing. So he's giving you the tools to master your relationship by going and grabbing his book. But let's hit up on sabotaging relationships. There's a lot of ways to sabotage communications and relationships. We talked about is definitely in like sarcasm, for example. How can sarcasm sabotage a relationship? Like, say for example, we're talking, or someone come, a wife come with an idea, and you just use a bunch of sarcasm. Is that going to want her to pretty much bring any other ideas to you if you're always using sarcasm?
See, and this is down to knowing your mate. You have to know who it is that you're relating to. And so if you're in a relationship with someone who's highly sensitive, then they might have a less of a tolerance for sarcasm or sideways or slick communication. But if you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't mind that kind of back and forth sparring, then it's okay. It comes down to knowing your mate. But to the point of your question, my wife is very sensitive. Okay. So it behooves me to understand the nature of my woman as I'm communicating with her. I know that she's very, she doesn't like sarcasm. She doesn't do sarcasm very well, maybe a tiny bit, right? So I know the limits because I'm very playful, but I know how to play with her. So if she comes to me with a serious issue and then I'm sarcastic, what you end up doing is you undermine the vulnerability that she approached you with. See, it takes, in order for you to connect with your mate on a healthy level, you have to experience a level of vulnerability that allows you to share in ways that would allow them to hurt you, right? It's like trusting them. It's like giving them the keys to hurt you, but trusting them not to, right?
Wow.
And so if my wife comes to me with an issue that's bothering her, she's coming to me bearing her soul in a spirit of vulnerability. And
That's
so
right.
what do I do with that vulnerability in that moment? I can embrace it, and I can address what it is that she gave to me in a way that benefits her and ultimately benefits the relationship. Look, I'm selfish, right?
That's right.
I'll be the first one to tell you I'm selfish. And so the last thing I want to do is turn her away from me, because what she adds to my life is so beneficial that I'm looking forward to getting second helpings of it, and third helpings, and fourth helpings, right?
That's right.
And so if he comes to me in a vulnerable state, I'm going to do my best to embrace that in a way that ultimately envelops her and helps her to get what it is that she's looking for. Now, if I receive her with sarcasm, knowing that my wife is very sensitive, what I've done is I've repelled her, and I've undermined, again, the vulnerability. And now, when I'm normally used to going back and getting as many helpings of whatever it is that I want, she closed the bar. The smorgasbord.
So that's communication is cut off. Communication is sabotaged then.
I've sabotaged it. By me not recognizing, by my failure to recognize what it is that she needs from me, and then turning something serious into a playful moment, I've sabotaged the relationship.
Right. And we see a lot of that going on too.
There's many ways that you can sabotage the relationship, right? But that's just one, particularly as it relates.
Well, we're gonna talk about some more too. Matter of fact, I want to go to the next one, is empathy. I want you to hit on how empathy is that important, having empathy in in communication and relationship. What occurs when there's too much empathy, or what happens when there's not enough empathy? How sometimes we can have too much empathy, or we can, first of all, tell our viewers what empathy is for those who don't know what empathy is.
Right. So in layman's terms, empathy is your ability to sympathize or feel what they're feeling, or at least let me say it this way, to relate to what it is that they're feeling.
Mm.
So if my wife is going through something very painful to her, I need to be able to relate. At least I don't have to necessarily think about it the way that she thinks about it, but I at least need to be able to understand what she thinks and why she thinks the way that she thinks and why she feels the way that she feels, and then meet her where she is, rather than trying to tell her how she should feel, rather than trying to force her to feel the way that I would feel.
That's right.
So empathy is just being able to put myself in her shoes.
But it sounds like you're talking about the balanced empathy. So what happens when there's too much empathy or too less empathy?
Right.
Because what you just said sounds like a person who's balanced with empathy. They know how to, have the right balance. They're not too much empathetic, and they're not too less empathetic. So what do we see occur in a person who has too much empathy and a person who don't have enough empathy?
So if you're a type of person if your relationship is experiencing too little empathy, then what you're doing is creating a disconnect in your relationship. You're creating a divide in your relationship, because your mate is looking to you for comfort, emotional comfort. But if you can't relate to what it is that they're experiencing, if you're not able to show a level of empathy that allows them to be connected to you, right? Let's say, for instance, her dog died, and you're like, man, we just get another dog. See, if she felt real strong about that dog,
right, I got you.
and then you show a level of disregard for the fact that she lost her dog by just saying, well, we can just get another one. What you've done is you've created a level of disconnect in your relationship that's going to be very hard to recover from. And what happens is it doesn't necessarily manifest in that conversation. It might manifest in not getting as much sex as you normally would enjoy. Maybe she doesn't put as much effort into preparing the meals for you that she used.
So we're not getting able to squeeze the bunkie because we not enough empathy going on. We ain't able to squeeze the bunkie.
Can't squeeze the bunkie the way you like. Now here's the other side. Too much empathy. There is a such thing as too much empathy. You can over consume the pain that they're experiencing, and then that manifests as physical or emotional stress in your own life, anxiety in your own life. And so again, you've created a disconnect in that way because maybe you put too much on it, right? Not just relate to it, but now the problem, and I like to say this, let me just stick a pin in this right here. My wife does not have a problem that I don't have. In other words, if she has a problem, I have a problem. We have a problem. Right. And she approaches the relationship the same way. Houston, we have a problem, right?
Houston, we have a problem.
But now, if my wife has an issue, I don't necessarily embody the issue. I look at the issue, I feel the issue, and then I go into problem solving mode or comforting mode, depending on what it is that I sense that she might need from me. So that's my effort to remain balanced rather than allowing myself to become overwhelmed. Because if she's overwhelmed with an issue and then I express too much empathy by becoming overwhelmed myself, now we're both mired in a situation that we could better serve ourselves if one of us at least try to remain clear-minded enough to try to solve or bring some resolution to the problem.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Let me ask you this. It's this one old saying that they used to use called kitchen sinking. And this kitchen sinking, it would be way if you get cornered into something, you would call yourself bringing up some unrelated information, you know. So they would say that the woman would run to the kitchen sink and act like she washing dishes, but stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think we do a bunch of kitchen sinking. You know what I mean? When we are talking to somebody, we feel cornered. We bring up some unrelated stuff. We bring up something that happened 10 years ago, or something that we know going to, like throw a monkey wrench in there where it can take the heat off us for a second. How can that sabotage our relation, our communication in our relationship?
Yeah. So I call this fighting fair, right? So in any relationship, conflict is inevitable, but combat is avoidable. Okay. We're always going to have some level of conflict. If we both walk into the living room in our home and I say, man, it's a little bit warm in here, and she says, boy, it sure is a little cold in here. That's conflict. We have conflicting ideas. We have conflicting ideas about the reality that we're experiencing. Now, how we handle that conflict, maybe she can get a sweater, or maybe I can drop down to just a tank top. One way or another, how we resolve the conflict will determine whether or not we have combat. Okay.
Right.
Now, when it comes to fighting fair, though, bringing up old stuff is the quickest way to begin fighting dirty, because if you're bringing up stuff from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 5 months ago, that means we have unresolved issues. And that's one of the key problems in relationships right now. We're leaving issues unresolved, leaving problems on the table rather than bringing some closure to these issues and then moving forward. So this idea of keeping the fight fair means keeping the main thing, right? Don't major in minor things. Let's fight about, if we're going to fight, let's fight about what's relevant right now. Okay. Because otherwise, again, bringing up old stuff, bringing up that old kitchen sink is the quickest way to fight dirty, fighting unfair. And we can't solve problems that way. It's really hard to solve problems that way.
That's right. You're so amazing with that. Matter of fact, I noticed that we were talking earlier and we've been sharing the book, right? For those who may not want to come and sit on a counselor, don't want to come by our office, because we're going to share your book there as well. The average person who comes to us going to go through your hard work book if they're a group or a couple. So I thank you for teaching me the Love Alchemist way. I might be an alchemist in training. I'm gonna call myself the alchemist in training.
That's right.
Learning from the Love Doctor. Yeah. So I noticed that we talked about people going to your group, his or her perspective. They can become friends with you. Vaughn says on Facebook. They can get the hard work book. But you and your wife also work with clients one-on-one. Like y'all have sessions that y'all sit down with clients. And so is counseling important?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, like you alluded to earlier about just the Black experience, what it means to be an African American or Black person, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. Heavily melanated people, right?
That's right. That's right. You can talk plain on our show now. I told you, just HBO, Cinemax. You know what I mean? Then we almost it's after dark. We can act up.
So with what it means, you know, I read a quote by James Baldwin. He said, "To be a Black person and conscious means to be in a rage almost all the time." Let me rephrase that. He said, "To be a Black person in America and conscious means to be in a rage almost all the time."
Okay.
Now, what that speaks to, even if you disagree with the statement, what that speaks to is the tremendous amount of hardship and pain and frustration that we've experienced, disappointment that we've experienced in this society, in this culture. And so everybody could benefit from some level of counseling, because we've been through so much, and it's so hard to find someone to show up in a relationship that is healthy and healed. Right.
So y'all have a counseling session that y'all offer. Y'all got like, y'all don't just actually help. Let's see what we got here. It said, "A classmate of mine once told me if my mate and I never quarrel, we don't love each other. I found it hard to wrap my hands around such a concept." We'll come back to what we were just talking about, but could you chime in on that?
Yeah, you know, again, I say that I think conflict is healthy. Combat is not healthy. You don't necessarily have to have a quarrel, but even if you do find yourself in a quarrel, how ugly do you allow it to get? If you're throwing stuff and breaking stuff and cussing each other out, those are very unhealthy ways of dealing with conflict. But now we're passionate, right? We're passionate beings. If we're passionate about a point that we feel, strongly, a thing that we feel strongly about, our voices might elevate a bit. We might get a little bit excited, but we don't have to start calling each other out of our names. Right? My wife doesn't
be assertive, but stay in line though.
Yeah.
You can be assertive, but just keep it. Don't turn it into, like you said, a war 3 and 4, and so on.
I'm never calling my wife. My wife is never gonna be a bitch. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm not calling my wife that.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Be some old punk ass whatever. Like we don't have to talk like that.
That's right.
We can get to the point. I can understand that she's upset without her violating me or me violating her. And now we have to recover from something new that we just injected into the situation.
That's right.
So now you and I become the problem rather than the problem being the problem.
That's right. So, okay, now you and your wife, y'all have these sessions that y'all can actually get with couples and help them. Like they can go to your website and do a session there, and actually y'all don't just deal with marriage couples. If an individual is looking and find themselves troubled and can't relate with another person to get married or to get into a relationship, and it's not just married, but to relate and get in some good, positive, healthy relationship. Y'all actually help couples prepare themselves to, get into a relationship or seek out a good found relationship, in other words, too, right? Am I saying this right?
Yeah, this is where the Love Alchemy comes in, right? So a large part of what it means to find yourself in a healthy relationship means to understand, first of all, who you are, knowledge of self, right? Know thyself, but then also knowing who it is that you're relating to, not just knowing who they are, but knowing who they are within the context of relating to you. So I go into astrology a little bit, and I know some people, they kind of poo-poo astrology, but it's very, very relevant. And the more I deal with couples in their relationships, the more I realize just how relevant and how significant and how impactful astrology is. So for instance, as an Aries male, right? I'm an Aries man. I need to understand that the most challenging relationship that I can find is going to be with a Libra female. On paper, that is the most challenging relationship that I'm going to find. It doesn't mean that it can't work, but there are dynamics at play. There are energies at play that make it more challenging for us to align in a healthy and harmonious way than it would be if I found myself in a relationship with a Pisces like my wife is.
Okay.
And so each one of the 12 astrology signs has a polarity. So Aquarius has the polarity in Leo. That's the most challenging relationship for Leo. The Aries is Libra. The Pisces is Virgo. The Taurus is Scorpio.
So
The
y'all spend a lot of the session really building a diagram to help that person find compatible people in their life where they can be compatible with emotionally, compatible with physical. You get them to paint a perfect picture of the ideal person.
Well, that part doesn't take very long, because once you understand who you are, then you already get a clearer picture of what it is that you need and what you don't need, what it is that you want and what you don't want. So let me just finish that wheel. It's only 12
Go
of
ahead.
them. So the Gemini and the Sagittarius are polarity. The Cancer and the Capricorn are polarity. I think I touched on Leo and Aquarius, and I think I touched on Virgo and Pisces. So I think, Cancer and Capricorn. Did I say that already? So that's all 12 of them. So each one, if you just picture a clock, for instance, you have 12 at the top and you have 6 at the bottom. If you look at the astrological or the zodiac wheel, the one that's your polarity is the one that's directly across from you. So 12 and 6, or 9 and 3, right? Or 11 and 5. The one that's directly across on the straight line, that's your polarity. And conversely, each one of the 12 has someone that fits harmoniously within their wheelhouse. So if you want more information about that, feel free to reach out to me and I can give you a personal one-on-one about that.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? If that's what that can help you understand and find your you say your ideal people in that will, you need to get in touch with Vaughn. Matter of fact, we're talking about that in his because we got I think about 7 minutes left, and I want to make sure that they know how to set up a session with you. You got sessions that going on. I've been up there on the website. I mean, you got some good prices up there to help them.
Yeah, because it's not about breaking nobody.
They have to that pocketbook a little bit to come to me a little bit. You know what I mean? At times, I'm gonna say at times. But you got some good deals to help people overcome some issues that can cost them divorce, that can cost them half the house, these different stuff. So I see that you got I think $74 for an hour session of actually with him and her helping them correct some situations in their life, helping them. Matter of fact, you explain it a little bit more of what happens in those sessions that you have, and they can go on your website and book one of these or see any one of these sessions that you offer, you and your wife, right?
Right. You can go to my website and basically book a session. And if you ever have any trouble booking a session on my website, you can go to my Love Alchemist page and send me a message there, or you can go to my messenger, Vaughn Says. You can go to that page, send me a message there. Either way, it's real easy. Just go on there and contact me and book a session. But long story short, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We're trying to take big problems and turn them into little problems until ultimately that they're not a problem. And I mean, and it really is. I don't want to sound like I'm oversimplifying it, but my goal, my aim is always to simplify a problem. Not necessarily that they're easy, but we do make them simple. And when you simplify the problem, it helps you understand exactly how to deal with these issues, how to overcome these challenges, and then ultimately they're in your rearview mirror.
Yeah, David took out Goliath with a little rock. It didn't take for a whole army to go after him. He was able to knock out a giant with a little bitty rock and swing. So a lot of time it's a little gear can stop a whole train from running. So I do know what you're talking about here. So how much one of these sessions will cost us? Was it $74? Was that correct?
I think I have it on there for $74, which is incredible, really. I mean,
I know that's why I was saying, I want them to know that, a little money can actually help get all these goals and mastering their relationship. Get a whole hour with the Love Alchemist and learn how to. Hey, I'm telling you, the work that we've used out of your book in helping people get rid of some health issues, in their relationship. Because I didn't have some clients come in their office. I mean, they was frantic as I don't know what. They didn't know what they was going to do. They was headed down to the lawyer office if it didn't work out when they walked out our door. And we put them through this along with some other techniques that we have.
Look,
But we put them through this.
I've had couples come from spending thousands of dollars through marriage counselors and come to me and tell me that I've helped them more inside of a month than the year-long counseling sessions that they've spent with marriage counselors.
I'm sure.
At a fraction of the cost. And so I enjoy what I do. It's a passion of mine. But more importantly, I really enjoy seeing the manifestation of healthiness take place and transformation take place in people's relationships. So, yeah.
Don't we all? I love that too, man. That's what keeps me doing what I'm doing too, man. When I see individuals who done been hurting for a long period of time, and they come in there and start practicing our health techniques, and they come back talking about, oh man, I'm off the medicine. Oh man, I done lost, and they come in there every week and 10 pounds off them, or they done lost 15 pounds, or they done lost 5 pounds. Man, that thing right there, oh man, that's a beauty. So I know what you're going through when you're actually taking a bunch of stress out of people's lives, where you see people coming in there smiling. Like I told you, those couple, once we showed them how to get better, clear expectations with each other, that one turn this way and one turn that way, they came and started turning into each other. And they were closer. I couldn't get them all. Hey, I need to get a room. That's up the couch now. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what you're talking about. You was able to make a lot of people smile, and what y'all doing by you and your wife. And I want to, give her shots out as well. I know she's not up here today, but I know, like you say, she's your backbone. I met her quite often. Every time that you came out and did, a show for us, or talk when you did the show with our sister, Miss Roberts, that time for them. She was there helping support you and put out the good information. So I know y'all helped a lot of people, better themselves by first bettering y'all self. So I'm glad that y'all took the journey y'all self to become great relationships, where y'all can mirror those relationships out into the world. So I just want to thank you for everything that you've been doing. Every time I call on this brother, he always steps up and help me out. We were doing something in the community at the gym. We were tutoring some young kids I think it was every Tuesday too, or something like that. And he came out, help us. He taught some of the classes. So he is a good counselor, not even just in talking about love, unless it's just love for mankind. I guess that's what it is. You know what I mean? So we thank you so much for your presence. We thank you for you being here in this day and time to be with us. We love you, brother, and we hope and send all our power to make you stronger in what you're doing, where you can serve your purpose here on earth. And we know you're doing it, you and your wife. We love you, and we thank you so much. And our viewers say, hey, you're the love doctor, and we need to see you do a show. So you need to get with Julius at the end of this and have a talk with him and see what y'all can come up with. We got the Alicia Blakely show coming up in just a minute. Is there anything you want to say before we get off? We got like 1 minute.
Yeah, I will end on this note. I know you got to wrap it up. So I say, again, you don't have to do anything extraordinary. It's not extraordinary couples. It's ordinary couples doing extraordinary, not even extraordinary things, just doing better than the ordinary couples, doing better than average. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, all you can do is all you can do. And that's enough. Just make sure you do all you can do. That's the word, family. I love y'all.
That's the health and happiness. See y'all next week. Next week.